I'm here with Jason Lake. An unfortunate exit at the major, 2-3 record with, I believe you even said, a very rough run. Just tell me, first of all, how you're feeling, because it's very cool to see you back around, but probably not the way you would have wanted to end it.
Yeah, I'm pretty wiped out right now, and physically, and to be honest, emotionally, it's been a tough few days. Mouse and Vitality, well, I really feel we should have beat, and then FaZe just, they put on a master class today. So to start out 2-0 and then not make the stadium, everyone's disappointed, but I really love the HLTV community and all the work you guys have done for so many years now, so I couldn't pass this up. I appreciate it.
Of course, and to have you back and coming to events and be back as the main man behind Complexity, what is it like coming to the major and being able to support the team? Because we used to see you a lot, but a little bit less recently, right?
It means the world to me to be back at events. Like I was telling the team earlier, if it was up to me, I would go with them to every event, man. I love Counter-Strike, and I love the other games that we're in too. I'm a gaming nerd, and the reality is there's a lot of corporate things that need to be done, and I need to handle my business so they have the opportunity to handle theirs. Under the previous ownership, there were different budgets and things, of course, in a corporation. I didn't quite have the flexibility to attend as many events as I would have liked, but now that that's changed, I hope to be able to attend more events, not just as an owner and as a fan. So I'm certainly disappointed that I won't be here to see the stadium matches, but I'll be watching from home.
Let's talk about you as a fan a little bit, because if you go back, there's so many clips of you just always being around Complexity from the early 2000s even. Yeah. Can you tell me a little about the history of Complexity from your side and just everything you've done with the organization, maybe from, let's say, before the CGS days first?
Yeah, I think first it's important to say that I get a lot of, the attention, and I certainly get more credit than I deserve. Complexity's been a large collection of really dedicated people and super talented players, and we were blazing the esports trail before most people knew what the heck esports was. So we started in 2003 and had the legendary roster, of course, with Fraud and Warden in the gang, and Trip and Sunman and Bullseye. And the other day on the stream, they were talking about, like, well, Complexity's never won a major. And I'm like, they better be talking about CSGO because we were winning majors when the announcing crew was probably in diapers. But, they were like, well, 20 years ago doesn't count. What do you mean it doesn't count? If we're going to build this digital sport, we're going to build this entertainment product, we should be honoring the legends of the past, the Team 3Ds, the SK Gaming. You go back and back, the eyeballers, like I could go on for hours, and not trying to minimize their accomplishments. So Complexity's been through a lot of different iterations over the years. When you've been around 21 years, I think that's probably to be expected. But I'm okay being the quote-unquote front man, but the reality is Complexity is so much more than me. It's the gamers who sacrificed and worked so hard to represent us. It's the people in the office that are behind the curtains that do so much of the work, especially when I'm on the road traveling around the world quite often. Complexity's always been a bit of a different gaming organization in that we're bit of a family. Like, I think my top 4 employees average 11 or 12 years with the organization, one being like 16 or 17 years working for Complexity. We've grown and scaled the company and welcomed and worked with a lot of super awesome people over the years. And like I said, sometimes I'm a little bit uncomfortable with the attention, but I also believe like somebody's kind of got to be the front person. And it's natural that it's me, but I want our fans to know that Complexity's way more than just me. And I look at some of those old Counter-Strike videos from Redemption and things, and I just like that's who I was, and that's who I am, man. I'm a really passionate sports and esports fan, And when a video like that has been out for almost 20 years and so many people have seen it, when it's you, you're just kind of like, man, oh Lord, bring me the pistols. I don't regret those videos, but sometimes you're like, dang, I wish I still had that much energy.
I mean, talking about that, even during this event, where that pistol clip, someone had it resurface, your original tweet was something along the lines of like, what was it? I'm too old for this.
I'm too old for this shit. That's right. People that watch games like Counter-Strike or even Rocket League and any real competitive esport, but some esports just are more stressful.
Yes.
I think sometimes with games like League of Legends and others or Dota, you could tell like, this team is such an advantage. It's 10, 15 minutes and it's over. Whereas the Counter-Strike comes down to these heartbreaking and just heart-throbbing moments. And I joked for years, like I'm gonna die watching a Counter-Strike match, but I've stopped saying that because when you get to be my age, you don't want to speak that out into the matrix, right? Because it's so stressful. I had a friend of mine that had never really watched Counter-Strike before, and she was watching our game versus Vitality, and afterwards she messaged me and said, how in the heck can you do this? This is one of the most stressful things I've ever watched, because it's so back and forth, and bombs down, and there's smokes and nades flying. I'm like, yeah, it's super stressful. And if you take just your love of the team and your desire to win, that's enough to make it super stressful. But quite often, when our teams have competed in the past, I've had ridiculous amounts of money invested and people's lives on the line in terms of their careers and paychecks and salaries. There was a time, man, I don't know if I ever told this story, but back in 2006, I had basically got to the point where I think I had $5,000 liquid to my name. I just had so much going on. And I had the decision, do I pay the Counter-Strike team? It was like $5,000 to send them to ISC 2006 in Dallas. And then they were going up to the Championship Gaming Invitational in San Fran. This was Warden and Tripp and Fraud and the Legends. I spent my last $5,000 to send the team to Dallas. And after being knocked down to the lower bracket, we came back and beat Alternate Attacks 2 games in a row, double elim bracket, to win the championship. And then we flew to San Francisco and won the CGI event. And the team won $50,000, and my cut was 10%, and I got my $5,000 back. So when you take the natural stress of watching a team you love play, and you mix like your family's future at times, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I was talking to the team, I think before the Vitality match, and I was telling them, I don't know what value I bring here. I try to help them grow as players, maybe a little sports psychology from just doing this for so long, and I try to bring value, and I try to kind of bring energy and hype. And my goal is to try to infuse into them how bad I want to win, because I'm like, looking them in the eye, I'm like, I promise you nobody in this freaking hotel wants to win as bad as I do.
Yeah.
Nobody. And if I can maybe share a little bit of that with you, and I was telling them one of the most powerful words in all language is desire. It's the root of so much of our life. How bad do you really want it? Because if you don't want it more than everyone else here, you're never gonna get it. And I don't know what value I bring at these events other than friendship and maybe some encouragement. But if I can get our players to want it half as bad as I do, we'll be lifting trophies again.
As I was telling you before we went live, one of my first events under HLTV as an interviewer was DreamHack Anaheim, and you were right there in the front of the crowd. And you always hear these stories about you always being behind the team, always being one of the loudest people in the audience supporting them. And I think for a team that's this young and has players who haven't quite established themselves as trophy lifters other than Elige, it does bring a lot of value, because sometimes as a North American team, a region that has had a lot of hardships in the last few years, it actually does bring a lot of value to have somebody who's that all in on supporting them. And for you, it's been, as you said, it's a very stressful game, but for you, it always brings you back in because this isn't your first time coming back into complexity like that. You had the whole thing with TGS where you had to sell off the team. You bought it back as well. Going back to that a little bit, can you tell me about that journey from losing it, buying it back, and then this whole period where we've been with the Dallas Cowboys and Game Square to now this whole journey.
Books, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, after the Championship Gaming Invitational that we won, DirecTV and News Corporation, satellite divisions around the world, one in Asia, one in Europe, decided to build a global gaming league called the Championship Gaming Series. And at the time, they were offering 30 grand a year base salary to the players. And at this point in esports history, nobody could match something like that. It was a very different time. So it quickly became apparent to me, I either get on this bus or go do something else, because I would never try to deny my players the opportunity. I think I was paying them $1,000 a month back then, base, and then they'd win prize money. It was out of my pocket. But when they had a chance to make $2,500 a month, like, of course. So that was a really interesting period. It's when I decided to go all in on esports. The real estate economy had started to cool in 06, in 07. So I sold my real estate law firm that I built into 5 metro locations in Atlanta and moved my family across the country in May of 2008 to live in LA. Unfortunately, Lehman Brothers and the whole global economy tanked in the summer of 2008, and in November of 2008, a week before my wife's birthday, they shut down the whole league. So I find myself unemployed in Los Angeles. I owned a law firm, I owned Complexity, I'd sold both, and now I'm living in a state that I'm not licensed to practice law in. So you talk about the highs and lows of gaming. When your wife looks you in the eyes like, what have you done with our lives? That's a low. That's a low. I had 2 young kids, and my family that loved me very much, and my own parents and everything are like, you're gonna give up on this silly thing now, right? And I'm like, absolutely not. So I bought the IP rights back to Complexity and started at ground zero again with nothing, no staff, no website, no players, no sponsors, absolutely nothing. And with Jason Bass and Alex Conroy, I built it up and went through the StarCraft 2 era and all these different wonderful games we got to participate in. We won like 12 or 14 Call of Duty championships in a row with Aches and Crim6 and the boys. And in 2017, it was quickly becoming obvious to me that all of my competitors were accepting serious investment capital. And again, you're like, I either get on this bus or I walk away. Yeah. We were becoming a feeder organization. We didn't have the budgets to pay what people were offering the talented gamers at that point. So I spent probably a good year trying to find the right fit for Complexity, the right partners with the right terms, and ended up selling majority interest to the Jerry Jones family, the owners of the Dallas Cowboys, and the Goff family in Texas. So we consolidated all our operations out of Texas, built a multi-million-dollar headquarters on the campus of the Cowboys, and really enjoyed working with them. Like I said on the Richard Lewis podcast, super good people, super classy organization, really learned a lot. Off the back of the pandemic, they decided to kind of roll us up into an umbrella company called Game Square, which is publicly traded. And we did that for a few years. And that's when you kind of saw me attending less events and things. My job became very corporate. My travel budgets weren't what I would have wanted. I mean, you got to run a company. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying, when you go through corporate changes, things change.
Did you miss it?
I missed it a lot.
Yeah.
I missed it a lot, and was, quite frankly, not real happy. In October of last year, 2023, our corporate owners announced they were buying FaZe Clan. And that presented an obvious and immediate conflict, which set off a series of events, which led me and Game Square leadership agreeing the best thing to get us out of this pickle would be for me to buy Complexity, except I only had a few months over Thanksgiving and Christmas to try to get to capital. And
as you said, that's not the best time to be.
No, it's a super bad time to try to be doing any urgent business and get anything done. And pulling off an M&A deal, even if you had a huge check, okay, I'll write you a check. pulling off an M&A deal in that time frame is like, when I hired my M&A attorney, said is like, we want you to know, like, this is a real long shot. Oh, and you haven't raised the capital yet. I'm like, nope. They're like, we're really expensive. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, oh, well, we're going to get this done. They thought I was nuts, but by the grace of God, we got the deal done. Got it done on March 1st, and it was announced just in time for our Counter-Strike team to play in the RMRs down in Mexico, to which, thank God, we qualified and ended up in beautiful Copenhagen. So that's my story, and that's that chapter of the history book.
As you said, it's a 20-year history for Complexity. I think longevity in esports, especially for organizations, we've seen a lot come and go over the years.
Yeah.
We've seen one struggle, especially recently with a lot of the financial situation, sponsorships.
Yes.
For you to have an organization that's lasted so long, obviously through all these iterations, can you tell me about that, just being able to have an organization of that longevity and that span should be a massive achievement, and it is a massive achievement, but I don't think a lot of people probably give that the exact due it deserves.
Well, I really appreciate that. And again, I'll circle back to, there's a whole lot of people that have poured their lives into this thing that are behind the curtains that Complexity's almost died multiple times. But for the wonderful people that have been kind enough to bless me with their work lives, and a lot of patience from my own family, we wouldn't have been playing at this event now. And even now, truth be told, we have a mountain to climb. Like you said, it's a super difficult economy. There's different categories of sponsorships that I need to fill quickly. I've got revenue goals I need to hit. I have a lot of business to get to, which leaves me stressed out when I'm enjoying an event, but in the back of your mind, you're like, I really should be out doing corporate stuff. So it's just, there's only 80 hours, 90 hours a week you can work before it just becomes too much. Yeah, we still have a mountain to climb. Our backs are against the wall. I think that's where we're kind of comfortable. We had a nice period in Dallas where we had some big brothers and maybe what you could call a safety net. Well, I have no safety net anymore. Just recently before getting here, I lost a huge sponsor that I was talking to for the Counter-Strike team. Ironically, one of the teams we beat here is working with them. Life has a sense of humor. But yeah, Complexity's always been about more than a business. That's why we survived 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been about people who love esports and are so damn passionate about what we do, we refuse to die. The only reason Complexity has lasted and still has some heart and some soul and some spirit to it, which it does, are the people that make it work. And I think as you watch us in the coming months and years, like, there's so many great organizations out there, and these new ones pop up, and they spend tons marketing, and the younger generations kind of cling on to them because they're great at YouTube, or they've got this influencer owner or whatever, and that's great. Everything, that's all cool. But if you want to build your esports fandom and esports relationship kind of with people that genuinely love what we do and love our players and love our fans and love our community, Complexity is a really good place for you to land. So, I mean, I'm always humbled when I get so many kind messages, and frankly, I often wonder, like, I don't think I can live up to the expectations that people have been so good to me and so kind to me, and it's just like, man, sure as hell I'm not a perfect person. I've screwed up so much. I made so many mistakes. All I can promise our fans is, as long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna be doing my best. And I'm really glad to own Complexity again. I'm glad to be climbing the mountain again. You'd think at my age and after 20 years in this business, maybe our backs wouldn't be against the wall. But when your back's against the wall, you can come out swinging, and that's Complexity.
Credit to you for the amount of times you've been able to do that with this time that you're bringing it back, you're all in again. I heard you said it on the Richard Lewis show as well. You're all in again.
I'm all in.
You and I believe a friend, like a close friend of yours who...
Childhood friend, yes.
Yeah, who've created this group to basically currently fund Complexity.
Yep.
To be all in again and to, I guess, not try and run it back, but as people might say, to run it back and bring Complexity again to the top, but with you again at the head of it. Can you tell me what that experience has been like just so far with just the major, but also as we move on from here? And I know that you mentioned that you're also going to be looking for other investors and sponsors to try and make it so that you're not just all in.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. I feel so grateful, and I thank God daily for the opportunity to do this, but it's also a lot. It's a lot, and if I didn't have such good people around me, the last 4 months, you know, I couldn't have done it. Sorry.
No worries.
Ruining your interview.
Not at all.
You know, there's a lot of prices that people that are here playing and working pay that fans never really see.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of our jobs to project a great brand, an image of strength, and like, I'm the best opper or I'm the best manager or whatever. The reality is it's freaking lonely out here sometimes. Look, we have our gaming family, yes, and we're close, but we're away from our wives or our children or our girlfriends or our boy, you know, whatever it is, and working insane hours 7 days a week. And there's a lot of prices paid, and I mean everyone. The media that's here, a lot of people want to work in esports, and that's great, but know what you're getting into.
Absolutely.
It's a lot, and you need super, super dedicated, passionate people around you to survive this lifestyle. But I am so blessed to be living it. I wouldn't know how else to live. I don't know how I will ever fully retire. This is what I love, and my family supports me in doing it. So
you say
it's great to be back.
Good to have you back. You say sorry as if you're ruining my interview, but you're not, because you're.
No, I'm just like when we sat down, I'm just like I'm a bit tapped right now, and then the team, you know, is just got knocked out. So, but with me, what you see is what you get.
And I think that's what people really appreciate about Complexity as well, is that you say that it's good for a lot of brands or people to present this image. You know, I have the best operator, I have the best manager, etc. But I think that as Complexity and what you bring is that realism and the actual image of you're authentic. It's you, and it is. There's no questioning it. And I think like that as an owner and as someone who's seen you multiple times at events, that's something that I really value. And I think seeing that repeatedly and seeing you back and seeing you at more events is something that the team also will value. So for that, I think it's very cool.
That's very kind. I appreciate that. And you know, my doctor and my wife and children over the years, because I'm not getting any younger, they've encouraged me, like, go to the events or whatever, just kind of sit back a little bit. Like the stress and the yelling, and I get so into it because I just love it. But I also want to be smart because I want to be around, you know, for my kids that are going into college, and trying to find that balance in life can be difficult sometimes because you got to have balance. But when there's so much on the line, you can tend to lose that balance. And I've definitely had a long 4 months here, but it's, you know, people can leave the whining and crying in the closet, because at the end of the day, nobody cares. You go out and you fight the battle and you win the war. And that's what each of us has to do each and every day. I'm incredibly blessed to be sitting with you here today, and incredibly blessed to be working with the people that I work with at Complexity and some of the amazing sponsors we work with, like Lenovo Legion. Without them, I wouldn't be sitting here. So shout out to the crew over at Lenovo Legion. But yeah, it's. I wish I had something better for your audience today, man. I genuinely do. I guess if I can only give any impartation of wisdom at all, is if you're really passionate about something and you have that desire and it's deep within you, you have to be resilient. Because life will kick you in the stomach and shove your face in the dirt, and you get up and you think, oh, I've got it figured out this time. And then you get kicked in the back of the head and it shoves your face in the dirt, and you got to get up, and you got to get up, and you got to get up. If you're not resilient, you won't accomplish anything in this life, whether it's esports or business, heck, sometimes even family, right? And friends. You have to get those scars to make your skin thick. Build resiliency on top of desire, and I believe you can do great things. I'm not saying I've done anything great, because I haven't, but I'm very blessed to have an unbelievable wife and two amazing kids and a family I miss dearly, working in an industry that I had the honor of helping build, running the company that I had the honor of founding, and working with such amazing people. And when people say, like, how are you still at it? It's just because I'm too damn stupid and stubborn to quit.
I disagree. I don't think that's true, because I think you have done a lot that's great, because everything that you just talked about, from your family to Complexity, is everything that you've created is incredible. I think also, to your point, it has been a very long couple of months for you. It's been 4 exhausting months into this major.
It's been something. It has been something.
4 exhausting months into this major, where I think tensions have obviously run very high for the last couple of days, especially where you went up 2-0 into this. And I know it's been a very hard road. So I don't want to keep you too much longer, because
I don't want to bore your audience.
I don't think you're boring anybody.
To the old man ramble.
I don't think you're boring anybody, because
I want to reset a little bit. Like, you know how some days you're just tired and kind of out of gas, and that was a really tough way to exit this major. I'm so proud of the guys for getting us here, but I really had hoped once we went up 2-0 that we'd be able to snag a best of 3. Given you're talking about mouse vitality and phase, like we never get the easy road, man. We never get. Not that there is an easy road here. It's just funny to me, and we're just not good enough yet. But I want to pivot a little bit from some of the, self-pity and whining, to be like, life is a beautiful thing, man. If you surround yourself with good people who are loyal and passionate about whatever it is that you're out to build, man, you never work a day in your life. Like, we love what we do. Even days like today, we love what we do. I love so much about this business. I love the folks that have built HLTV. I love the competitors, man. I was telling Rops, after the game, I'm like, dude, I just want you to know I'm a big fan of yours. And Rain is like, yo, stop trying to steal him. And I wasn't trying to steal him. I'm just like, I know these people's stories, and even people in other orgs. Like, I care about these people, and I'm so proud of the obstacles they've overcome and how good they are at what they do. There's so much beauty around us, and so much to be optimistic about, and so much to be grateful to God for, and just so much to work for. There's so much good in this world. There's some days you got to take a deep breath and remind yourself, dude, you turn on Twitter, you turn on the news, and after a while you're like, shit, this whole world's going a really bad place. You got to step away from this stuff sometimes. Go for a walk, maybe go fish and smoke a good cigar, hug someone you love. There's still beauty in this world, and I'm living the dream that I prayed in 2008 when they shut down the Championship Gaming Series. I got on my knees and prayed to God, help me find a way to do Complexity full time for the rest of my life. You got to realize we had nothing. I was dead broke. I had gambled everything and lost. I have 2 young kids. My wife had to go back to work. So what did I do? I doubled down. Who knows what my life would have been like if I'd just gone into any other business or gone back to law or whatever. But I doubled down, and here I am today. Like, there's beauty in this world, man. There's joy in this world, and having the opportunity to do it with such awesome people, like so many good people here and so many good people cheering for us back at home at our HQ. You got to toss the self-pity that I just displayed, and you got to see the beauty.
I think after a hard day like today, the self-pity is also totally understandable. Leaving from here, it's, as I believe you said, that you're going to head out tomorrow.
Yeah, back on the road.
From leaving Copenhagen, where will we see you next? What's the plan for Complexity going forward with you?
I don't even know where I will be next. Our Rocket League team plays here in like a week. I have to get back to the office and get back to the corporate stuff. But we've got a lot of awesome gamers that are going to be all around the world all year, battling passionately to represent the organization and our awesome fans, and figure it out. There's a mountain before us, and we're ready to climb it. We're resilient. We absolutely love this space and all the people in it. I feel really blessed and lucky to still be doing this. And God willing, to be doing it in another 2 years, 20 years. I want to hoist more trophies, and I want to make my family and the Complexity staff and our sponsors and our fans proud. And until I get that done, you'll keep seeing my ugly mug at these events.
Not an ugly mug. And listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this after such a heartbreaking day. I know it's been very long. It's been...
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I'm on your website way too much. I love Counter-Strike, man. And I love the community and all the wonderful people that are involved in it. And as long as they let me in the door, you'll probably see me screaming, "Bring me the pistols," somewhere. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to interview me.
Absolutely.